Hello, you guys. I feel really called, I feel really called to come on right now and to share. I just got done with Untangled a little while ago, my live YouTube episode, my series on YouTube. And I really feel like I need to come back on and share about what's happening on the planet. I don't know, it's a strong urge I have. So here I am. Take this with a grain of salt. You may be feeling it, you may not be feeling it. Save this video for when you are feeling it, because this is the evolution in human consciousness. And so it's impossible, I think, to not feel this. Part of what I'm so surprised by is how very few people are actually talking about the moments where you drop down in the elevator drops you down into these lower levels of being at times. You know, we live in a culture, in a world where there's a lot of shame. It's shameful to feel depressed, or to feel low, to feel sad, to feel exhausted, to lay in bed all day, like whatever it may be that your body is requiring of you, and that you are just naturally feeling. That there is a shame around that there is something wrong with you, that you shouldn't be feeling these ways, that you need to be strong and push yourself through it, and blah, blah, blah. It gets me upset sometimes when I think about it, because the way I see everything is through this lens of evolution. The human collective, whether you want to believe this or not, the human collective is going through an evolution in consciousness. It cannot be seen, it can only be felt, and it's an energetic experience. And so it is absolute, it's happening. I talk about it all the time. And the reason I talk about it all the time is because it truly is what is driving everything on this planet. And it is the body that is taking you on this ride. And so we are in these deep programs, that we live in these deep programs of when something happens to us that doesn't feel good, when we, thank you, Megan M. Little, for the badge, when we don't feel the way we want to feel, we believe that it is our responsibility to change ourselves, to fix ourselves, to heal ourselves. Okay, and again, take this with a grain of salt. There's all these different levels or layers of fixing or healing or taking responsibility. But there are moments in your life that you will feel, and that you will continue to feel, where you are literally dropped down 6 floors in an elevator almost, and how you were 1 minute is now completely different. Overnight, within a day, an hour, a minute, you are just feeling not you. You're feeling heavy. You're feeling exhausted. You're feeling depressed. You're feeling really funky. The emotions that you typically feel throughout the day are now amplified. The limiting beliefs that you have now been amplified tenfold. It's like something has taken over, and you are just consumed by this heaviness that has unconsciously been leading you most of your life. These are the moments of massive transformation. Many times what we do is we go to classes or workshops, okay? And these amazing, brilliant teachers or healers will activate these transformative moments. And so what they will do is that you'll go through, exercises, or, they'll guide you through experiences that will activate these emotions that are in the body, limiting beliefs and behaviors that you've been living in. These workshops, or these beautiful teachers, or certain exercises will activate this transformation, right? And then you have these amazing moments that happen in these workshops and these retreats and things like that, right? But what's happening on a human collective scale naturally is that these transformational moments are now happening without you choosing. You're not signing up for a retreat in order to go through a transformation. The transformation is happening right now. It happens out of the blue, in the middle of your day, you just drop down and all of a sudden you're in some sort of transformational process of healing limiting beliefs and emotions that you didn't think you needed or you didn't agree upon supposedly and you didn't necessarily want. And it will knock you out. It may create like a debilitation where you just feel like you can't do life right now. It will create confusion, like, wait, who am I? What am I? What? It's because you didn't consciously choose this moment right now, Tuesday, February 13th, to go through a transformation. But your body is in charge of these moments of transformation. It's the body that purges out these energies, not you, not the ego. And so if you think about any moment, right, in your life where you had a really big transformative moment, I guarantee you it was felt in the body through emotional releases, maybe physical releases, right? Aha moments where it was like your body felt lighter. It's all connected to the body. It's all the body releasing energy, right? And so most of the time it will be felt as some sort of emotional release or it can be like intense limiting thoughts that come in. And you're like, holy shit, I've got to look at this movie that I've been paying attention to for a certain amount of years of my life, perhaps. But what's happening is that the body is giving you an opportunity, you being the one that's aware, it's giving you an opportunity to shift or transform out of ways of being that you've been in your life for a very long time. Now, here's what's so interesting, and a lot of people ask this question, well, why does it keep coming up? Why does the same thing? Thank you, Michaela, for the super chat, or the badge. Why do the same emotions keep coming up? The same limiting beliefs keep coming up? The same behaviors keep coming up? Because there is a level of intensity in the body that has stored it. So imagine like a big rock, okay, of limiting beliefs like unworthiness or insecurity, attachment, ways in which you attach, a fear of abandonment, lack, right? You're not going to ever have enough money. These are energies that are literally stored in the body. And they're recycled over and over and over again, which means that the part of you that is sort of doing life unconsciously does life through the lens of these stored energies, these stored, these recycled thoughts that you just have, these stored energies or emotions that just continue to be accessed as who you are, right? You believe that this is just who you are. And so what happens is that it takes time, it takes many transformational moments for many of us to break up that rock, to break up those limiting beliefs, and for them to dissolve out of our physical body so we no longer grab them as who we are. Sometimes it can happen instantaneously. You can literally have an instantaneous transformational moment where you never have that limiting thought ever again. It's rare, but it can happen. Sometimes you can have a really powerful instantaneous healing where this emotional block that you've had for so long around abandonment or lack goes away. And you literally never have that emotional block, which is what's guiding you. So you're always in this state of lack or you're always in this codependency, right? It just goes away and it's gone. That happens. But more often than not, it's a slow trickling of that rock that turns into mud that just starts to dissolve out of the body. So it has to purge multiple times throughout your awakening process until it is emptied out of the body, which just simply means that you are no longer believing that you are the limiting thoughts or the emotions that are beautifully coming up right now in these transformational moments, right? And so I just did a video about this, but what happens is that there is like a baseline that you'll find yourself in throughout your day, right? And maybe this baseline is like all is well, you're getting along with people, you feel pretty calm, right? You're excited maybe, or you're grateful, whatever it is, but you're not forcing these things. It's just the natural state of your being based on this baseline frequency that your body's at. Now, what happens is that there are always going to be energies in your body that will continue to be purged out, right? Based on the energy coming into the body. It's just always going to happen. It's just going to happen less and less. And so when these moments happen where there's an actual physical experience of a purging, you will feel like you are being taken down. You will feel debilitated. You will feel like you're not yourself. All of the ways in which you have been in the past are going to surface. I thought I was done with this. I thought I healed this. I thought I went through this trauma already. The moment that we humble ourselves enough to realize that we are not in charge and that you have never been the trauma, you've never been the limiting beliefs, you've never been the emotions. As soon as you start to embody that more and more, you will allow for these very humbling, transformative moments to do what they are here and designed to do, which is move out of the body. You are not in charge of this process. You want to be in charge of this process, but you're not. And the other thing that's important to understand is that you can't change it. So the fastest way through any of these moments where you feel really low, really heavy, right? Not like yourself. First of all, don't ever think it's never going to happen again, because you're going to most likely find yourself in it again. Second, do not try to control it and move yourself out of it, right? How do I get myself out of this? You're not in charge of that's like saying, how do I stop my transformational moment, right? How do I make sure that I don't transform right now? Don't do that to yourself, right? Recognize that it is a massive transformation that's happening. And this is beyond the programming that we have out there around what we're told about what's going on in our own healing journey. This is it's a fundamental experience that we're having, a fundamental physics experience that we're having. Fundamental, it's just energy, right? And if we start to remember this more and more, it becomes easier. These moments where you drop down, the elevator takes you 6 floors down and you're like, who the fuck am I right now? What is going on? I am scared shitless. I don't know who I am. I don't know how to get out of this. Yes, be aware of that. Be conscious of that. Recognize that. See that. Feel that. And then trust that this is an evolution. Eventually people are going to believe what I'm saying. It's just may be taking months and years. Eventually people will stop trying to control this. It's like, I feel like what I share and what I'm teaching and trying to remind humanity of is so difficult and challenging, because the other deep programs are what work right now, right? So getting yourself out of it works. Changing your emotions works. Doing all the different healing practices work. And so humanity is going to continue to do the things that they think are working, right? And it's like that only works up until the point that you realize, holy shit, nothing's changing. It's the illusion that it's changing, right? But the more that you are trying to control what's happening, the more you will continue to keep yourself at this level of it's like you're only allowing yourself to drop so far, and then you're trying to control your transformation. You can't control this. The body is doing something that you can't control, and it's the hardest thing that we will ever go through, is what we are in right now. But what's so interesting is that this is how we shift ourselves. This is how the shifting into higher states of being or new ways of being happens. It's all energy. And the body is lifting you up into these new energies, these new ways of being, and the body is pummeling you down as it purges out these energies and these emotions and thoughts and behaviors. And the entire planet, the programming of this entire planet is to be in charge of it, is to have the tools and techniques to be in charge of it and to control it. And any time that you are trying to control something, just recognize that that is the ego structure, which is fine. Just be aware of that. It's the ego that's trying to control this. And the ego does not know how to do this. The soul knows, the body knows, but the ego doesn't. And the soul and the body are in a natural state of flow, which means that they are letting themselves be pummeled when the waters get rocky. They're letting the rapids get heavy when the rapids get heavy. They're not trying to figure out how to slow the rapids down or stop the rapids. They're not trying to move the boulders out of the way and put all this effort into trying to change what they're in. Eventually, we're going to start to recognize that this human evolution is not about getting rid of the boulders, changing the boulders in the river, right? It's about moving through the rapids with ease. And someone just said, just one day of peace, please. What I would say to those of you that are in a lot of turmoil or a lot of suffering is pay attention to one. So Tanya, Noah, J1, pay attention to what you are focusing on. And literally, turn on get what you are focusing on even more highly attuned. Like, turn on the flashlight in front of you, the lights in front of you on the car, and recognize what are you focused on. Because what happens is that we don't even realize what we are focusing on throughout our day. Are we focusing on what's not working? Are we focusing on what's not good? Are we focusing on what needs to be fixed or changed? Are we focusing on how hard life is? Are we focusing on how intense life is? Are we focusing on how screwed I am? How, whatever that is, right? What are you focusing on, Tanya? What, and this is for everyone that is in a lot of suffering, right? Or I just want one day of peace. We have to start to become aware of what we're focusing on, what we're looking at, the lens that we're using. So even in these moments, like I just had these past 24 hours where I just was in this really, really heavy funk. I'm still in this funky feeling, right? But I'm aware of it, and then I'm aware of how I'm seeing it. What am I focused on? Am I focused on how bad this is, how unhappy this feeling is, or how uncomfortable this feeling is? Am I focused on how there's something wrong with me? Am I focused on how do I get out of, what am I focused on? And when you can start getting really clear on what you're focused on, you start to become empowered. Most of us on here listening to this, we're not even really consciously aware of what we are focusing on. And so there's this disempowered feeling. Okay, this kind of like I'm in a victim state almost. And so when you can become more conscious of what you are focusing on, what your intention is on, then you become empowered. You start to realize, holy shit, look at what I'm focusing on. Wow, look at all the ways that the lens that I am using. And when you can start to do that, you can then start to shift the lens. You start to shift the lens. And you start to see life, your life, in a different way. So instead of seeing everything as, why is this happening to me? This sucks. I can't stand this. I'm in this again. I'm constantly in this, right? You shift it and say to yourself, this is what I do. I'll ask myself, how do I want to feel? Right? And is there another way that I can see this? Is there another lens that I can use to see this? Maybe and maybe not. And being completely humble around that. Right? Yeah, I can see this through the lens of, there's an opportunity here. I can see that I am moving through something. I'm not stuck in something. I can see that there is, I can find a sense of calm in this right now. Maybe not, right? I can't do any of that. I can't see any of that. This sucks. I'm in this, and you can't convince me otherwise. At least you're conscious of that. At least you're conscious of what you're focusing on. And Tanya, if you're still here, I'd love to hear what you're focusing on, because what happens is that we are very unconscious. Even if we're conscious, we're still unconscious. There's so much unconsciousness in us. There's a lot of unconsciousness in me. When an unconsciousness is kind of like a knee-jerk reaction to life, a way of seeing life and being in life, that you just do, or you just feel, or you just react to without realizing that it's a choice, right? It's a choice. How am I choosing? What am I choosing? And this is where we step out of victimhood. So it's not about changing your circumstances necessarily. You may have no money. You may have a job that you cannot stand, right? You may be struggling financially. So that's happening. I'm not saying that that's not what's happening, right? These things are happening in your life. It's the same thing with sleep. Okay, so you want to be sleeping. I'm choosing sleep, but you're not sleeping. So the bigger perspective is the truth of what's happening is that you're not sleeping. The truth of what's happening is that you're not experiencing peace. The truth of what's happening is that you're in lack. The truth, like what is actually happening in your reality is what you're trying to fight against, which creates the suffering. The suffering comes from not wanting to be in what you're in. The peace comes from being able to be okay with what you're in. That's where peace comes. That's where calm comes. That's where flow is. It's not about changing what you're in. It's about humbly allowing what you're in first, becoming aware of how you're seeing it. What's the lens that you're using? Giving yourself compassion and humility. If we constantly think that the external world has to change, right? I think I just need to remind myself I'm okay. Yes, Tanya. Like, that's a beautiful way of also seeing. That's a huge shift in lens. Think about that. I just want one day of peace. Okay. I agree. I'm okay. Think about that shift. So you're not convincing yourself that what you're in, you're not in. Okay. But what if you also say to yourself, I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm safe. I'm okay, I'm safe, I'm okay. And that tiny little shift, as much as you have to force yourself to use that lens every once in a while, that's the shift. You see, it's not about, oh, I have to figure out how to get more sleep, or I have to figure out how to make more money, or I have to figure out how to get out of this relationship. That eventually will happen. But the bigger, the higher perspective shift that's being asked by all of us right now is, how can you be in what you're in? Again, you can change and find solutions and do all of that. But if you are not capable of recognizing the lens that you're using as you are in life, and you don't want to be in the life that you're in, okay, but you're in it, this is life. If you don't figure out how to be in that with a different lens, you're always going to be fighting against life, and you're always going to be thinking that if you can change the external world, you'll be at peace. If you can change the external world, you'll be happy. If you can change the external world, you'll be able to be more trusting. This is not about changing the external world. This is about recognizing how you are being internally. Because the external world is chaotic. It's uncontrollable. You can't control it. You can try, but you can't control it. The external world's going to do what the external world's going to do. And your body is going to purge what the body's going to purge. The frequency shift is going to happen the way the frequency shift happens. And so what lenses are you using to see the world? Are you constantly saying that this isn't fair? Or are you starting to say the best things are coming, right? Life is gifting me. What do I want? How do I want to feel? So it's a balance. It's a real interesting juggle right now. Because you have to allow yourself to be in what you're in while you simultaneously start choosing new ways of being. So you're getting yourself out of what you're in, but you're also not fighting what you're in. You're not resisting it. You're surrendered to it. You're allowing it. You have to allow things first, and then you move out of it. So it's about the lens where you're using, and it's about recognizing that if we continue to think it's about changing the external world, it's not. It's going to take a very long time because the external has nothing to do with the external world at all. And so the reason I came on today is just to let you know that if or when you feel moments or hours or days of just absolute depression, anxiety, stress, but in really intense ways, not like yourself, and you're ashamed, or you're afraid, or you don't understand it, you're confused. I just want to remind you right now, okay, that this is how the body transforms, and this is how the body purges. This is the evolution in consciousness. This is frequency shifting inside the body. And the more that you can remember this, because this is something you know as soul, you just forgot. This is not about you fixing yourself. This is not about you being wrong or bad. This is not about you being fucked up and screwed up, and that is not it. This is the fundamental way in which energy moves out of the body that's in a lower frequency so that the body can hold higher frequencies and continue to shift us into new states of being. That's what's happening. Very basic. And we make things very complicated. So just pay attention if you're having these moments, or if you find yourself in one of these moments, okay? Maybe you'll remember this message and you won't beat yourself up so much, because there's nothing wrong with you. There never has been. The way in which we evolve and the way in which we shift is awareness. So you unfortunately, you have to be aware. Unfortunately, you have to feel. Unfortunately, you have to pay attention to the limiting thoughts. Unfortunately, you have to see the behaviors. But I promise you, this isn't about you taking charge and changing them necessarily. It's about you realizing what has been controlling you or leading you. That you have been believing these limiting thoughts. That you have been allowing these emotional states to dictate how you respond to life. That you've been believing that these behaviors are more powerful than your own soul. They're not. They're not at all. Just because something arises into your awareness as an intense emotion, a limiting belief, or a behavior doesn't mean that it has control over you. It doesn't mean that it's who you are. And it doesn't even mean that you have to fix it. It means you need to be aware of it. There has to be a conscious awareness of it. And you meet it at the breakfast table and you say, holy shit, I have been believing you, limiting thought, for so long. I have been believing you, emotional state, for so long. I have been living my life through the lens of this emotional state. Wow. Holy cow. And the more I familiarize, befriend these emotions, the more I befriend, meaning that I allow it, I let it sit at the breakfast table with me. I hand it a piece of toast and let it butter its bread. I'm not afraid of it. There's an embracing that I start doing more and more within these moments of transformation, where these emotions and thoughts and behaviors, they're allowed to be here because they're here. What I'm going to do, kick it out? It's here. The more you try to kick out these emotions and thoughts and behaviors, the more you actually believe that they are who you are. And let that sink in for a second. The more you try to get rid of, fix or change an emotion, a behavior, or a belief, the more you believe that it's who you are. The moment you realize this isn't who you are, you will simplify your life by just allowing whatever is moving through you to move through you. And you will remember that it is giving you an opportunity to see who you think you are. You don't need all of these like complicated tools and complicated ways of getting through life. You just need to realize that you actually believe that you're a limiting belief. You actually believe that you're the emotional state. You actually believe you're this behavior. And the actual true transformation and shift happens when you realize you're not. And the more you realize that you're not these things, the easier life becomes and the easier it is to let these things move through you that are stored in the body. But it's rattling. It's rattling when the body is in the process of purging it out in that moment. The moment that the body is physically, energetically purging that belief out or that emotion out. It's a physical purge. It's all energy. The body's constantly shifting frequency. So pay attention. Pay attention. The moment you want to change an emotion, the moment you want to change a limiting belief, ask yourself, do I believe that I am this emotion? Do I believe I'm this limiting thought? And the more that you realize you're not, the less you will need to change it. And you will start to be in flow. You start allowing life to just move you. Anxiety, and the reason why so many people are feeling anxiety is because they don't want to be in what they're in. They don't want to be in the present moment. Most of us. Why? because in the present moment is where the most intensity is felt. So this is very unconscious, but anxiety is going into a future. That's what anxiety is. You're thinking about a future, or how to get out of right here, right now, how to fix right here, right now, how to not be in right here, right now. That's where anxiety comes from. And so if you're having a ton of anxiety, one of the things that I would say to you is, can you start telling yourself that you're safe? I'm safe to be right here, right now. The only place that we ever are is right here, right now. That's it. That's all we are, is right here, right now. All we have is right here, right now. And the most intense you will ever feel is right here, right now. The safest you can ever be is right here, right now. And the more, where you are out of control, where you are not in control, is right here, right now. You are not in control of the now. You're not in control of right here, right now. You cannot control it. The more present you are, the more you are out of control. And so what's happening to humanity is they are being pummeled into a present moment over and over and over. It's the evolution in consciousness. And when we are pummeled into present moment, we don't want to be in what we're in. And so there's an anxiety that arises over and over and over again, because we're being pummeled into the present moment. And we're used to not being in presence. We're used to being in a future or a past. That's why this idea of healing can be very, very addictive. Because when you're in the journey of healing, you're in the past trying to heal, or fix, change. It's not in present moment. Present moment actually isn't healing. Present moment is just being in what is. And allowing whatever is to be what it is. And so you're courageously feeling what is. Anxiety is trying to control everything. It's trying to control what's going to happen, maybe trying to control what did happen. And it's exhausting. So if you're recognizing that anxiety is getting more and more intense in your body, start to pay attention to what you're focusing on. Okay, what am I focused on? What am I looking at? What am I thinking about? That will empower you. Anxiety doesn't have control over you. And anxiety will start to pull you more and more. It will make you feel less and less, it will make you feel more and more out of control and more uncomfortable. The way that you feel safe in your body is you recognize that your body is not out to get you. Your body is not doing anything to harm you. Your body's not trying to harm you or create suffering. Your body's not trying to make it worse for you. Your body is literally just moving energy through it. Energy is emotion. Energy is sensations and feelings. And so what is so courageous about what's going on with all of us right now is that we are having to be more in body, more present, more conscious. We have to trust the body. We have to trust emotion. We have to trust what we're feeling. And stop trying to be in control of it. So I don't know if it was Jessica or who it was that just said they have tons of anxiety. But do two things, my friend, two things. One, tell yourself that you're safe. You're safe to feel everything. Just keep telling yourself that, even if you don't believe it. I'm safe to feel this. I'm safe to feel and I'm safe to be in my body. So that's the first thing you want to do. I'm safe to feel, safe to be in my body, safe to feel, I'm safe to be in my body. And then the second thing you want to do is pay attention to what you are thinking about. Pay attention to where your thoughts are, like where your thoughts are taking you. And bring yourself back to what's right here. What's right here? What's right here right now? So one, I am safe to feel this, and I'm safe to be in my body. I'm safe. My body's not out to harm me. All right? The more you get into the body, the more you're going to feel. It's just what happens. You can't be in your body and not feel. You're going to feel more and more out of control. You're going to feel more and more in a state of flow. When you're in a state of flow, you're out of control. You're not controlling. So I am safe. You force yourself to say this. I think it was Melissa. Force yourself. I am safe. My body's not out to get me. My body has me. And then where are my thoughts? Where are my thoughts? What am I thinking about? Then get curious. What do I not want to be in? Right? What do you not want to be in, Melissa? Because there's something you don't want to be in, which is creating you to think about the future, which is creating the anxiety. There's a calmness when you're in war. Your body doesn't have to be in this fight or flight. If you're in physical war, forget about it. But if you're in an energetic war, that's the mastery. Right? That's the mastery. It's learning how to be in all of it. What about when there isn't really anxious thoughts? It's just a feeling that takes over your body. It's similar, wild sage flower. So it's the same thing. It's just different. It just feels different, right? So if there's an energy that it's a feeling that takes over your body, it's not taking over your body. Okay, so when we say it's taking over our body, then we feel disempowered. What you want to realize is that the body is in control. The body knows exactly what's happening. So nothing is taking over the body. The body is pushing something through it. And if you can reframe, you'll feel safe. You'll start to feel okay. It's a reframe that literally shifts you when you're experiencing things in the body. Nothing takes over the body. The body's not stupid. The body knows how to do everything. It knows how to regulate itself. It really does. What happens is that the part of us that is in the mind can take over. The mind can be much more powerful than the body. And so what you think can be way more powerful than how the body is naturally designed to move things through. And so when the mind says something is taking over the body, you're immediately going to go into kind of like a fight or flight or an anxiousness, or I got to fix this, or I got to get out of this. And instead of doing that, recognize, okay, this is mind. Mind is way more powerful on one level than the body. But at the end of the day, the body is such an intelligent device. Being in body with heart in a feeling state is 10 times more powerful than mind. That's why when you learn how to manifest, right, they always tell you that you have to feel it. You can think it as much as you want, but if you don't feel it, it's going to be really impossible to create it. So at the end of the day, the feeling state is 10 times more powerful than the mind. But until you recognize that, the mind is going to be really, really powerful. It's going to control a lot. So you want to listen to what you're saying. Something is taking over the body. Feels like it is, but it's not. The body's good. It's truly good. It knows how to take in any emotion and move it through. It's our perception of it that creates the experience of it. How you perceive it, how you think about it, how you visualize it, how you frame it is how you're going to experience it when it's moving through. So again, you want to say to yourself, like, I'm safe. I'm safe to feel this. Nothing's going to destroy me. I can feel anything. You know? The body knows what it's doing. I just lost my husband to suicide, trying to move forward without him physically. I suffer from my own intense empathic hypersensitive state. Shay Koa, I'm so sorry to hear that. That's a lot. It's a lot of emotion that's moving through your body, grief that's moving through your body, stress that's moving through your body, anxiety is probably moving through your body. You know, there's probably a lot moving through your body. I can't even imagine. But just imagine whatever you're experiencing is movement. Nothing's stuck, nothing's staying, nothing's stagnant. Right? Be super, super compassionate with yourself. And let yourself feel everything that you're feeling. Because anything that you're feeling can't be wrong because you're feeling it. Right? So how could anything that you're feeling be wrong? It's what you're feeling. It's the craziest thing that we have this idea that what I'm feeling is wrong or negative or bad. There is no such thing as a negative emotion. There's no such thing as a bad emotion. It's just energy moving through the body. Right? And so can you give yourself permission for everything that you're feeling? Just feel it. And have compassion for yourself. Oh man, I was going to go to yoga. Shoot. Okay. I love you guys. I'm going to get going. I will save this. Mwah.